Hi everybody, Eddie the Tattooed Realtor here. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment so that you can stay in tune for more epic videos as I create them. So the video this afternoon that we're going to be talking about is actually about the Remine app. The Remine application is a really cool and useful and beneficial application that my MLS has at the Greater Fort Lauderdale and Palm Beaches that is fairly new. I know it was released in October of last year, and it has really remarkable features. Now I'm gonna make this video kind of two-part, where the first one I'm just gonna talk about some of the features like we're doing now, and then what I'm gonna do next is I'm going to do a screen record so that you're able to see the features and you're able to see how I use it in my business. So the Remine app, like I said, or the Remine program, was created October of 2017, so it hasn't been out for more than a year. I've actually done a few onboarding sessions with one of their, onboarding specialists, and the time was extremely useful, beneficial. I learned a lot on how the system works and how it was designed, and they're really open to hear my critiques of it or my thoughts or inputs of it on how to improve it. So when you go into your MLS, depending on how it's structured, it'll probably have like a new or applications that are new, or an application section. And then you look for the app called Remine, R-E-M-I-N-E. What this application does is it pretty much compiles all the data from public records, the MLS, and a few other places, and puts it in one easy to use platform. I like it because it allows me to do all my searching for potential buyers and potential listings right in one spot, so I don't have to worry about going to other places. Also, you can have this track feature where as you're moving through this particular application, you can click track and it'll allow you to start and move into particular, track features, which is really beneficial because it allows you to store the data in one place. You can refer to it later. You can download that information as a CSV file, which I'll show later on in the video. And then, you can refer to it for all your marketing needs. Not only have they gone above and beyond in terms of compiling all the data together, in this application they can also have, or you can also look up mortgage amounts, equity in the home, time of ownership, land use, what type of property it is. You can even look up components of what's on the MLS in terms of if it's an active listing, expired listing, so on and so forth, so you can make sure to operate legally and above board with all advertising and marketing systems that you employ. So not only do you have that on the left-hand side of the screen when you're looking at the program on the computer, but you also have the track feature in the upper right. And then if you click on the address, which we'll see later on in this video, if you click on the address, you're actually able to pull up all the specifics about that property. Now that property could have multiple owners. It could have an absentee owner. Oh, that's one feature I forgot to mention, that on the left-hand side, there's actually a button that says absentee owner. So you can see whether or not they're in-state or out-of-state absentee owners. When you click on the name, as I was saying, you actually get all the data in terms of mortgage providers, amounts left, all public record information. And then they also provide like an estimate of a value, and they take it from 3 different sources, which I found really useful and relevant, even though you want to be sure to do your own comparable market analysis on your properties or your potential listings. I found this to be extremely useful and helpful. The other thing is, when you keep scrolling down the page, you'll be able to see the contact information for the owners. So you'll have their phone numbers, and they put DNC, do not call list, for the ones that are on do not call list. They put the mailing addresses for the absentees, which I found extremely powerful for all my marketing efforts. And then they also have the email address, not for everybody, but for a good chunk, or the social media channels, predominantly Facebook and Twitter. So this is kind of where we're going to make that segue into it. So I will then begin the screen record, and you guys will be able to see the inner workings.
Well, everybody, so this is the on-screen version, or the, let's say the screen sharing, if you will, of the Remine application I was just telling you about. So let's jump straight into it. Right here on the left-hand side, you have the various options or criteria you can use to kind of wean down your search. You also have some right across the top in terms of bedrooms, restrooms, square footage, year built, lot size, basement, parking, number of floors, so on and so forth. And here you can put in addresses, zip codes, neighborhoods, all that awesome content if you want to search it that way. Now I'm going to do a rough search, and I'm going to show you how it works. So once again, Remine application, check with your MLS to see if they have it. If they don't, ask them why they don't have it. And be sure to check out Remine. I think it's .com. The guys there are great. I've talked to a number of them in person or over the phone, and I've come to understand and appreciate how much time and effort they put into this software. So jumping straight in, let's put in the zip code of my parents. So 33138, they live in Miami Shores. So I'm gonna come here, 33138. Now once I click it, it'll take me to that little section. And you really, this is using Google Maps API. You can tell because the Google right here in the corner. And I'm using my mouse just to scroll in. Now, once I'm in this area, I'm going to scroll down deeper, and I'm going to show you what's going to begin to happen. As you begin to scroll in deeper and deeper, you begin to see these blue dots form. So, see all those little squares right here? You got to give it a second. It'll start actually putting blue dots everywhere because that allows you to like lock into the information of that particular property. Think of it like if you're looking through county records, okay? So once I zoom in, and you do have to give it a minute or so sometimes because it's loading so much data at one time. So while it's doing that, I'm going to jump over to this side. Now, on the left-hand side, I apologize, I could clear my throat. On the left-hand side, you have all different types of options. Now, I'm not going to go into what you could use Remine for in terms of like marketing tactics. I'm simply showing you the features that exist within this platform. So we're going to start up at the top. Now you can look for track properties with the star because as you search and find properties, you can actually begin to track them. What you can also do is you can then go into other features like Airbnb, last sales price. What I like to look at is I like to look at the ownership time. I usually like to look at properties. Man, I really apologize for clearing my throat so much, but 7 years or more. And you see how, watch, I'm going to zoom in just ever so slightly. Come out a little bit, zoom in, let's see if we can get it to work. Yep, there they are. So the blue dots start popping up. Ownership time. The ownership time are distinguished by colors. I'm going to go 7 years minimum, no maximum. So once I press apply, all the blue dots that remain are the properties that meet that particular criteria. So we're in this zip code in this criteria. The next thing you can do, mortgage age. Let's say I want to see people who've had a mortgage for at least 10 years to 15 years. Okay? Go apply. And you see how it gets smaller and smaller in terms of the amount of blue dots that are still available within our view. Then you can go to value, property value, home equity, sales score, land use, building type, flood zone, absentee, distressed deals, and cash buyers. Now, the one thing is, I completely forgot to mention this, but this is actually the pro account of the of Remine. Some of these features are limited when it comes to MLS access or whatever your MLS has worked up. I recommend you highly subscribe to the pro because of the mere fact that the investment will be well worth it, and you're going to want to talk to Remine about that specifically. But let's look. So far we've looked at 7 years of home ownership, 10 to 15 years mortgage age. And I'm going to go to a home equity of, I don't know, let's see. I'm guessing in this property area is probably $350,000. So let's say $50,000. I want them to have equity of $50,000. And I press apply. So all these blue dots remain, meet this criteria. Now I can go into other things like absentee owners. But once again, you may or may not run into a couple of them like owner occupants, absentee in-state, absentee out-of-state. So I really caution you to be selective in what you're doing. So let's say this is the search that you want to do. Now let me show you a couple other really cool features. So you're able to click on, well, you know what? I completely forgot. Let me go to building type. I want to look at single family homes specifically. And also let me go to land use. And I want to look at residential only. I don't want to get involved in commercial right now. So now we're really fine-tuned in here. And as I move, check this out. As I move, more options will begin to pop up and display up as they become available. So let's take one random one, for example. Let's click on this one. When I click on the blue dot, what I see here is I see the address, single family home, room count, square footage, loan balance, net equity, and also I see the owner's name. Now, most of the information, as per Remine has told me, is coming from county records or public records. So let's say I want to track this. Now, if I want to track this, I can simply press track, and the star will come up. I'm actually going to untrack it because I don't need this particular area in my search. But you see the star pop up. Now you could technically go to the track section and that will be stored there. I'm going to untrack it because I don't necessarily need this one. So once I click here on the name, or excuse me, the address, then what happens is all the specific details about this specific property begin to show up. Now this is remarkable because this puts all that information in one spot so you don't have to go and find it other places. So we have the map, rough area of the front, very familiar with this road actually. The name, if I scroll down, let me scroll down for you guys. As I scroll down, you're also going to be able to see legal description, key stats about the property, schools. Now this is kind of cool. When I was talking about the average valuation estimate, a lot of times we all know what Zillow has to offer. So what they've actually done is they take 3 different estimates from 3 different companies and kind of create this hybrid. I really like that because it's a more well-rounded number because we can see we have like a low, a medium, and a high, and they average it together. Once again, you're going to want to do your own comparable market analysis just to make sure you're right there. You can go into some demographics about the property. Now this is the remarkable stuff. Check this out. So on the bottom, you can go to associated people. You have the owner. You actually have his email address. And then you can also see the phone numbers right here. One has the do not call, but the other 2 are available. And you can see others. These are usually associated with the property, so this might be of some sort of relation. Now the buy score is a relatively new feature that I've been coming into contact with. They use different analysis to come up with that buy score, but you know, take it with a grain of salt. I leave that up to you guys. So you're able to see all the features. Now if you want to go back, you can simply click back on the keyboard on your mouse like I just did. It'll take you back to where you were searching originally. Now, when you're in the track feature, I'm going to come in here. So let's say we did track this, but I have my own list generated, so I'm going to go into that really quick. So once you have the properties you can discover, you can go into track, okay? In track, I've created a bunch of different lists on Margate and surrounding area and prices, all this kind of cool stuff. What you can actually do is you can create in the funnels. I'm going to go to one of the funnel. I'm going to say, I'm going to go down to, I'm looking for one particular. There's new sales funnel. So some properties I'm looking into for my new sales funnel, you could actually click select all. You can click download property CSV. Now when you download the property CSV file, it'll actually come up in a couple different ways. So I'm not going to hide anything from you guys. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So if you go to downloads, you open up that Excel. There's my beautiful face. You open up the Excel spreadsheet. Let's let it load for a second. You're going to see how it outlines all the information. Now you can also create labels for people, or excuse me, you can also track people in terms of you're looking for specific owners, so on and so forth. One interesting thing I ran into why this Excel spreadsheet loads is if you go to people, I'm going to show you, it's really cool. When you go to people, it'll begin to attract all the properties, or to track all the properties associated with that individual. So I'm going to come back to this. We'll come back to the spreadsheet in a minute. I'm looking for one in particular. Here we go. So I'm going to click on his name, Shanaz, and I can see all the other 4 properties associated with this owner. I thought this was remarkable because this allows you to get a gauge of what kind of buyer and or seller you're dealing with, whether or not they're an investor, have multiple properties, where they are, so on and so forth. Let me go back real quick. So on and so forth, room count, all that kind of cool stuff. So once again, a remarkable feature. You can also track those independently. Now going back to the spreadsheet, and once again, I'm being as transparent as I possibly can with you guys. This is what the spreadsheet looks like as I open them up a little wider. So the spreadsheet allows you to gain all the information. These are with absentee owners. It allows you to have the address of where that property is located, the sales score. Sales score is like the algorithm that kind of calculates how likely they are to sell. I use a little bit different when I begin the market. Absentee, mailing address, mailing city, state, zip code, owners' names, and so on and so forth. So it's an extremely powerful resource and tool for you to use. Now if I go back to Discover, one last thing I wanted to show you before I end this amazing video for you guys is I wanted to also make you conscious of the MLS. Now, a lot of times when you're dealing with the MLS, you need to make sure that you're not marketing or soliciting or targeting specifically people like that already listed with other agents. That, at least here in the state of Florida, is against our code of ethics, and I just think it's kind of messed up. So you definitely want to pay attention to this. And Engage will also tell you to click on Engage. You can also begin to understand if status changes happen. It allows you to keep track of like various properties and so on and so forth. So anyways, guys, this is Eddie the Tattooed Realtor. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you find it useful. Once again, be sure to check with your MLS system to see if they offer the Remine application or program or whatever you want to call it with your association. If not, you should ask why they don't. Please remember that this is the pro account that you're looking at, and I recommend that you reach out to Remine. Let's say your association doesn't have it. Maybe they offer or allow the ability for you to have it independently. Highly recommended. Great group of people, of men and women over there at Remine. And yeah, so hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I'm always here to help. Have a great night, or day, or morning, wherever you're watching this.